Well, what do you know, another case from Corsair. This is unlike anything we've gotten our hands on, so it should be pretty interesting to see what this new Air 540 can do. Now, the name is sort of the giveaway of the focus of the case, and that's obviously airflow. Released at $139, many will find this appropriately priced given this is Corsair, but let's first analyze how well this case is designed before jumping to any conclusions. So this cube case utilizes this dual chamber design where components that do not require active cooling are moved to the back. So your SSDs, power supply that can cool itself, and of course optical drives, leaving more room in the actively cooled chamber. A tinted side panel window is very much needed for such an interesting case, as you'll most likely want to show off what you've done with the internals. The side panels do not impress us, and it's surprising to see such poor quality on such a premium product. The rest of the construction is mainly steel with plastic front and top panels that are slightly rubberized to give off quality feel to the touch. Due to unconventional layout, two optical bays have been rotated with front panel connectors right underneath with a pair of USB 3 ports, chrome-plated audio jacks, and your power and reset buttons. The case is elevated with large rubberized feet for scratch-free floors and provides stability for such a wide case. Now looking in the back, extra venting is located at the top, followed by exhaust fan and 8 PCI expansion slots. The side chamber is where you install your power supply, and there's some additional venting holes at the top. The power supply is rotated, so you'll be pulling air from the side, but notice there's no dust filter. And I think this is the first case we've seen from Corsair that does not include a power supply dust filter. And it's such a high price tag that's unacceptable. Removing both mesh panels is really simple. This gives you access to your fans and to the magnetic dust filter for your main intake. There's no dust filter for the top panel, and even though it'll most likely be used for exhaust, it's disappointing to see the Air 540 being short on 2 dust filters. On the bright side, however, a total of 3 140mm fans are included, with 2 in the front and 1 in the back, so a pretty decent cooling configuration at its default state. Now the front supports triple 120mm fans as well, making the Air 540 a very good candidate for air cooling. Now let's check out how this dual chamber design is executed. First thing we notice is clearance. No more drive cages hogging the airflow. The 2 front fans deliver direct cooling to all your components, and that's the selling point of the Air 540. 2 3.5-inch drive caddies are kept at the bottom, with some opening right underneath for the drives to breathe, and these are also hot swappable drives, which makes future upkeep very convenient. Both the front and top support 240 and 280mm radiators, and even a 360mm rad can be installed in the front. Now we have over 3.5 inches of clearance at the top for a push and pull radiator setup, and 14.5 inches of horizontal clearance, so you can still install a radiator as long as your GPU allows. Now looking in the back, the optical drive cage used toolless mounting, very welcome sight here, and the entire cage can also be removed if needed. Now the power supply sits on a platform which you can adjust in length with maximum supported units of 200mm. This provides extra security that your power supply won't be moving around during shipping. Now on top of your power supply sits the Ssd Cage, which is completely toolless and very convenient to work with. It supports up to 4 SSDs with now appropriate spacing added for right-angled SATA and your power cables. So fully assembled, we get an idea of the type of airflow you can expect. Front fans blow directly over your graphics card, memory, and the CPU area, making this ideal for air-cooled systems. However, water cooling is also sort of the main selling point here, as large rubber grommets allow tubing to pass through into the other chamber. However, coming around to the back, since all your cables are concentrated into one spot, it might be difficult finding room to mount your pump or the reservoir. Also, dual bay reservoirs will not be compatible as the optical drive cage is rotated, so it might be very tricky refilling your reservoir. Also, the rear chamber is not designed all that efficiently, as there is unused room above the SSD cage that could potentially house additional 3.5-inch drives. So in reality, only the all-in-all water cooling systems will work with the Air 540, with potential for a real water cooling loop only if user modified. So to sum things up, the Air 540 utilizes a dual chamber designed for more direct airflow for all your actively cooled components, and it does that very well with the front intake and plenty of exhaust. The entire assembly is pretty much a breeze with toolless Ssd Cage and hot swappable 3.5-inch drives, plus you don't even have to worry about cable management, as that is out of sight, out of mind. Now on the flip side of that coin, no dust filter for your power supply nor to the top panel, and on the market where even $35 cases have power supply filters, it's a big question mark. While the dual chamber works very well, I feel the rear chamber is not optimized and could potentially include more drive storage. And lastly, both side panels are quite flimsy, and while we know the windowed panel is mostly acrylic, thicker steel would make us happier in that regard, especially for such a price tag. So Corsair's additions to the Carbide series with the Air 540 leaves much to be desired from future revisions. But until then, users are going to have to be satisfied with its airflow capabilities as long as you can live with its limitations. So thanks guys for watching. Let us know what you think of the Air 540 and exactly how you would optimize the rear chamber to be more effective. Leave your comments down below, don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next one.